This is IsAware, powered by Intersoft Associates. IsAware is your connection to exploring the systems and software that power businesses like yours with expert insight, experience, and advice.
Welcome back, everybody, to IsAware. I'm Chris Mitliff, and as always, I have Hai Goldstoff and Abe Unger with me. And today we are talking about database consultancy or database consultants. We talked a lot about big data in a previous episode, so we got some sense for the data that we're thinking about, how we can use that to help run our businesses. Abe, what's a database consultant? What should I be looking for or thinking about? Do I need a database consultant?
In terms of database consultant, you need someone who's going to actually understand that data and help you put it in a meaningful format. So we spoke about data, we spoke about big data, we spoke about understanding data, but now you got to put it together and actually make use of it. So in order to make use of it, you need someone who understands data, how to manage data, and how to query data so that you can make use of that data for your purposes in your business. And that's where we can come in and help with that.
So it can't just be somebody in my office who is pretty good with Excel and who can take all these things and merge them together. You're talking about something more sophisticated than that.
Correct. The people in the office who are working with the data are going to be important because those are the people the consultant's going to talk to understand the data that they have. But to better make use of that data and to store that data, you're going to need someone who's a bit more savvy in the database world, how to do that.
Hi, what's a necessary sort of criteria for a solid database consultant? Do I just need to be a person who can sort of see all the tech in front of me and connect it, or is it deeper than that?
Well, yes, but it goes a little deeper than that. It really involves optimizing the structure of the data so the people who build the applications around it, for the people that build the applications around it, so those applications will be optimized and will be scalable, so that as the business evolves, a lot of it can be supported by simple changes or additions to the data that you're storing. So and in order to do that, you want to make sure, if you have data, give you an extreme example. If you've got 1 million rows of data in a sequential file or in a Word file, it will take forever to find a particular record. Now, that's the extreme case, and that's 30-year-old thinking. But now with all the data we have, you want to be able to get to that data as quickly as possible and make sure that the applications that use that important information are in fact optimized. And there are also, a whole bunch of other considerations, including security of the data, what you encrypt, when you encrypt it, how you encrypt it, and what happens with that. Is it a one-way encryption? Is it a two-way encryption? So there are a lot of other issues today, in today's, cyber, what was we're looking for? Cyber vulnerable world.
Yeah.
You want to minimize your vulnerability. Not that people can't get at it if they wanted to, but if they find it hard and the door is locked, they'd rather go to another house that where the door is open. So it helps you protect that data and allow your business to run like a jet engine.
Right. Go back to the file cabinet concept. If you throw everything in a filing cabinet, you don't know what's in there or how it's organized, you're not going to get anything useful out of it. You might have it all, but you're never going to find it, and you're never going to be able to perform any actions based on that because you can't get to it. But if you create a system where you index that correctly, you know where the files are going and how it's organized, and you need to find something, well, now you can go get it quickly and then do whatever it is you need to do as a result of that.
What's the relationship between a database consultant and a software developer and a database administrator?
So the database consultant and a software developer are definitely going to work together. A software developer would be somebody who may have database skills, but their focus is going to be building the software for users to interact with. They may not really care how the data is stored and how it's organized, and vice versa. The database consultant doesn't necessarily care how the data is used, as long as he understands it's in a fashion that makes it usable. But the two will definitely work together. The database administrator is the person who's going to do that day to day and make sure that everything, basically the tuning, the tune-ups, the oil changes to make sure that things run on a day-to-day basis. So once everything is set up, they're going to make sure that everything runs and everything works and that, nothing goes bump in the middle of the night.
So the administrator maybe doesn't have a holistic or strategic view of how this database sits and functions, in context of the large organization. They just need to make sure that their end of this thing does not break down.
Correct. And again, many people wear many hats, and you may have people who actually serve multiple roles. But traditionally, the administrator really just wants to make sure that everything is running smoothly.
Can you give me an example of a smaller project that requires a real competent database consultant, and then another that's a larger, more sophisticated project? I want to see if I'm a small or mid-market kind of business, what are my needs and how do they sync up? But then what if I'm more in the enterprise? What are my needs and how do they sync up with what I should be asking or expecting a database consultant to do?
And again, in terms of the world of data, it really doesn't matter. No matter how large or small you are, that data has to be useful to you. Now, you may not need an entire team of people. You may get one person who can do a bunch of those things for you. But again, you still need to get that data in a format that makes sense to you. A small project may be something as simple as a mom and pop shop who's doing some sales for you, and they've got to manage their inventory and manage ins and outs. And they may not need a tremendous, crazy system that's going to have millions of users using it, but they still have to understand their inventory, what's selling, what's not selling. In order to do that, you need that database structure, you need that data for you. Whereas in an enterprise environment, it's a lot more complicated than just a few ins and outs. You're dealing with, in the case of some of our clients, really, really large clients, billion-dollar book ordering systems, where you're dealing with an inventory on a completely different scale. So in the end, you're doing the same thing. It's in and out and it's data management, but there is a different scale for that. And that's where the consultant can help with, well, what do you need to do that? What kind of environment do you need? What's the technology that you're going to need to use to get you to where you need to go to, and how much horsepower you need to get you there? And those are the kinds of things that the architects and the consultants can help with. But even in a smaller environment, you need someone to sort of point you in the right direction and work with you on getting that set up.
And to add to that, in a smaller environment, you don't need a terribly sophisticated structure. You need a structure that's going to work and give you the information you need. But from an optimization standpoint, the power of today's hardware can probably mask any inefficiencies in the data, because there's not a lot of data to go through. And if you've got 20 people on using the system at one point in time, in reality, a very small fraction of that are going to actually hit the data simultaneously, if any. But if you're dealing with a large enterprise system where you've got hundreds or even thousands of users, you've got to allow for certainly optimization, certainly for security, certainly for disaster recovery. If the data goes down in one database, are you able to swing to another one, so that it looks like it just keeps on running, even though that's a backup site operating. So you need a much more effective database consultant. You need someone who's got much more experience. And the database consultant for the small shop may, in fact, just be their software developer. And may, or if they're outsourcing or using the cloud-based system, it would, certainly be their provider. And we have lots of clients where we act as the database administrator, and we have, some clients, because we have that skill. We have some clients where it's just absolutely huge, and we work in conjunction with their in-house database administrators, database consultants rather, who do that and only that. And their concern is not just the silo, however big it may be, for this particular problem or this particular set of users, but the entire enterprise. How does the rest of the enterprise work, and how do we potentially connect them or leverage them? And again, I don't want to minimize security.
And these consultants can also help when it comes to future phases and enhancements that come out. Products are updated, software is updated. And as these things are updated, there are new technologies that you can take advantage of, such as as we start moving into an artificial intelligence kind of world, where it's decision-making software, where they can help put your data in a place where that can actually help you as well. And again, that may be something that would be more in the top of a mind of an enterprise system, but that may help anybody. But especially if it's done right from the beginning and it's structured correctly, you can move from A to B easily and you don't have to redo anything. And the consultant helps you get there.
That's such a great point, Abe, because I think we can tend to think of the problem that's immediately in front of us. And so, we need to solve for X and we need to get our database consultant who can do these things. And once we hit the finish line on that, we may have emerged into a whole new way of thinking about things, or there might be brand new problems in front of us. And what I hear you saying is that a good database consultant will sort of future-proof us, get us ready for the next thing, the next way that people will be interfacing with stuff, the next technologies that will be emerging. And I think that probably takes a pretty unique skill set and mindset to be that capable of thinking about things. Do you agree?
Agreed, absolutely. And that's where we can help.
Talk to me a little bit
about. Don't forget about the bots that many people are starting to use that will go out and and mine data and grab data automatically, and that's becoming a very important part of the landscape. And again, what that will do is create more data, and if you have it, you can differentiate yourself from your competitors and really grow.
What does it look like if I call you guys up and I say, I'm not quite sure what I need, but I know I need something? What are kind of the 3 or 5 top bullet points of how you start to help me understand the problem in front of me and the solutions that need to maybe be provided?
Well, the first thing we want to do is understand, where you feel you need assistance. What are the problems? What data do you have today? What data may be available? What is related data that may be available? What are the various touch points in the organization that need to be addressed and need to be looked at? So it's kind of expanding that cocoon that you might have, and taking a bit of a holistic approach on the organization, depending on the size of the organization, certainly. And keeping in mind who needs to have that data. The use of the application is always using the data to improve the process. And part of it, involves the day-to-day. Part of that is noticing trends, which includes exception reporting to management. You don't want to know when things have gone bad. You want to know where they might be trending to be bad. So they're actionable. If they're bad, then you're into cleaning it up. Then you're into trying to fix something, trying to undo something. That's actually a bad term. But anyway, but if you know that you see it trending that way, you have the ability to affect it. If it's too late, it's too late. And getting all that information can certainly help you. And there are various organizations, where that happens. We had built a system for a garment manufacturer, actually in New York City. And we built simply a production management system where there are a whole bunch of steps in terms of producing the item, in terms of designing the item, producing the item, and keeping track of all sorts of deadlines. It's simple project management, but there are so many people involved in the process, and make sure that everybody is alerted to the fact that when the customer has a to-do and they don't get it done, or they're close to it, that we're able to remind management and able to remind the customer that we need this done by such a date in order for us to meet the deadline that we promised. So there are just so many different things that you can do with it.
I love that illustration because it connects both to sort of the business because it connects to both the business imperatives, but also the customer experience and how saving time or saving energy or saving effort or, simple reminders. These are sometimes maybe not the things we think of when we think of air quotes database consultancy or databases, but it just helps us run smoother. It helps us communicate more efficiently and more effectively.
The data is there, not just to be there, but data is there to make a difference in your organization, make a difference in your clients, make sure that you can operate efficiently. It's there to help you. It's not just there to be there.
Great
and
point.
You don't accumulate a whole bunch of it simply because you want to.
Hi, Goldstoff and Abe Unger from Intersoft Associates. Thanks, guys, for spending some time with us today talking about database consultancy. This is another one where I feel like we could probably dive in and really get into some of it. So we'll come back to this another day, I hope. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for IsAware, and a special thanks to our subscribers. Consider becoming one today. IsAware is powered by Intersoft Associates, who believes the more you know about your IT, the better. Visit us at intersoftassociates.com and schedule your free consultation to talk about how custom software can help your business.